to this. We want to sign in, of course, so admin password again if you're not signed in already. And we're going to come in and click on this little papers tab. So this is going to show us all the repositories. Now we want to say set me up, and what we're dealing with is our libs release, and this is the guy that we want to be deploying to. So right now we have a snapshot release. If we don't have a snapshot release, it will go to release, and I'll show you that in the POM here in a second. So we click on set me up, and it says libs release local, so we can't do a virtual repository. And this is the chunk of code we need to add to our project POM. So I'm going to come here and copy this code snippet to the clipboard. And I'm going to come up here, back over to IntelliJ. And typically we want to stick this right, just out of habit, I stick it right there down at the bottom. And so this is saying central, and this is giving the Artifactory.Springs Framework guru. So I'm going to go ahead and import that, let IntelliJ see it. And now let's go in and do a deploy. Well, that's running. It's going to take a couple minutes to run. I'm going to toggle over here and show you some things in Artifactory. And we can see that we have these libs release. I'm going to expand out on that. And see all these, when you first grabbed everything and installed it, this is not in that Docker image. This is what was generated when I ran that build and we started asking for artifacts. So in the background, we were downloading all that. So this is now cached on our Artifactory instance. Come over here. And now we can see that we are downloading and uploading. So this takes a second. It's uploading a jar. And if you remember how Spring Boot works, it does a Uber jar. So the Spring Boot deployable jar is what's affectionately called an Uber jar. So it's not just your code. It is actually a jar that contains the jars of everything else. And in case you didn't know, a jar file is literally a zip file of Java classes. And if you change jar to zip, you can open it up with any zip utility and see all the files in it. So it's just a standard Java artifact. And that guy is rather sizable, and that's why it's taking a few minutes to upload here. But the good news is it is going to libs release local, which is exactly where we want it going to. We got a build failure here. Let's take a look and see what happened. So I'm getting an error here that failed to transfer it and bad gateway. So let's take a look, see what's happening there. I'm wondering if we filled up our server. So I'm going to go over to Artifactory, take a quick look here. Since we are logged in as admin, I'm going over this, and what we can do is see the logs. And we got a snapshot. So I did this in testing. I'm going to try something here real quick. So it looks like it's having a conflict on the version. So I am going to bump this real quick. We shouldn't see that. I'm going to try that and see what happens there. Okay, hit a little troubleshooting there, and I made a pretty simple mistake, very important mistake. And right now, I'll show you what we have here. Go up to the top. I have a snapshot version, and this is important how Maven works. I brought in the release repository, and it was getting rejected, and that was an oversight on my part, and I needed to have the snapshot. So you can see that the snapshots went up. Okay, and what was happening is I only had the releases defined, and I was trying to push a snapshot version. That's why I was getting smacked down. So what I'm going to do is simulate a release this time, and we can come up here and take this piece off. There's actually a release plugin that does this for more complicated projects, and I'm going to do another deploy. And I'm going to show you how this works inside of Artifactory. So just to recap, I don't know how deep a knowledge you have of Maven, but the snapshots are development snapshots, and Maven will bring those down frequently, but when you do a release, it's going to bring it down once. So there's another project that's dependent on the .01 version of this. It would only come down to the Maven repository once, where if we do a .snapshot on it, that is going to go up there. It'll get pulled down multiple times because Maven says that's a snapshot, and that artifact should not be resolved in the local Maven cache on your machine. And again, that's in the .m2 directory. I'm going to pause this for a second while this is uploading. Now I've done a release, and we can see since I called it I didn't have snapshot, we can see down here that it went to the release. Now let's say that I'm going to work on the next one, and we'll do this dash. So now I'm going to work on the next release, and I'm going to emulate that. And now I'm changing the version of what I'm working on, and now I'm uploading a snapshot, and now we can see down here how we're going to the libs snapshot. And when I didn't have the snapshot on there, I went to libs release. So when you set this up, it was my mistake not to show you this before. You're going to need the releases and snapshots in there. And as you're developing projects, you're going to be alternating back and forth between those two. Let's take a look over here. While that's uploading, I'm going to show you inside of Artifactory. Close that, and I'm going to refresh this, and we'll see You'll see that we have artifacts loaded up there now. So now in snapshot local, I do have that snapshot, and I also have the release. So I got the 001 release and the 001 snapshot. When this is all done, uploading, we'll have a 002 snapshot. So that is now completed, and I'm going to jump over to Artifactory, refresh that, and now in snapshots you can see we have a 1 and a 2.